Hey friends, so today we're going to go over the new notes that we have for chapter 2 or unit 2. This is going to be dealing with a bunch of angles that we're going to be mentioning. So today we're going to focus on these things or these words that are called supplementary angles, or I'm sorry, complementary angles. Complementary angles are just things that add up to 90 degrees. And so typically how we do this is we'll draw what's called adjacent and not adjacent angles. Adjacent is just a fancy word that kind of means like next to, or sometimes it means touching one or the other, but two angles that are literally neighbors. So if you think of the word adjacent, the easiest way to think of that is if I make a right angle and I mark it as such with that square in the corner, that two adjacent angles might be any angles like this. Again, they can range anywhere in this inside of the interior of what we have here. And what we'd often say is if I have like angle number 1 and angle number 2, we can say that angle 1 plus angle 2 is going to be 90 degrees. This would give me a grand total of what I'm looking for what we say is complementary angles. And then non-adjacent just means that they're not next to each other. So that means I could draw an angle right here. I could draw another angle over here, maybe not touching each other at any point in time. But the measurement of these might be something like 30 degrees and 60 degrees. And again, if we added those together, we'd have 30 plus 60 equals 90. And that is, again, complementary angles for us. So that's going to be a big word, complementary. Don't forget to put that one in the vocabulary. Next up, though, we have something called supplementary. Supplementary angles are those that add up to 180 degrees. And again, we have these adjacent versions of these or these non-adjacent versions. And so if we're going to roll it with the adjacent, it's again two angles that tend to be next to each other. If they add up to 180 degrees, they should add up to a straight line. And then we can have this angle coming anywhere between this and rotating anywhere around here. Does not matter where it goes. But if we end up with an angle number 1 and angle number 2, we can do something similar. Angle 1 plus angle 2. This time, though, they should equal 180 degrees for the supplementary version of that. And then similarly to the other ones, if I had two angles, and actually we can make two right angles if we wanted to, I might just do that. One right angle sitting like this, and let's say I have another right angle that's sitting right here. Again, they are not next to each other. They are not attached to each other. These would be non-adjacent. And if we gave these little angle measurements, for example, we did angle 1 and angle 2, we'd still see that angle 1 plus angle 2, or 90 plus 90, should again give me 180 degrees. So the new vocabulary words we're really looking at are going to be complementary, they add up to 90, and then supplementary, they add up to 180. So for examples that we can look at here, it's going to say, hey, can we go ahead and name some, if I have a 60-degree angle, can I get the angle that is complementary to it? Which means that I need to make this add up to 90 degrees. So in a way, you kind of think of it as 60 plus something is going to equal 90. And that's something that we're really looking for here would just be a nice version of 30. And you can get this either by taking 90 and subtracting 60. That's usually the way that we'll try and make this work. We can do the complementary again with 95. This is kind of a weird one, but you kind of think about taking your angle that we have and you say, well, okay, well, if I have 95 degrees and I add something to it, it has to equal 90. Well, we would actually need to add a negative number in this sense. And very similarly, if we look at the math behind it in the corners that we did earlier, we could look at it and say, well, if I just took 90 and I subtracted the angle that I have, I would get that same exact answer of -5. And then for supplementary, similar process here. I have a 60-degree angle. I need to add something to it, and it has to equal 180 degrees. You could take a look at that and do that maybe in your head and recognize that I need 120 more degrees to get there. Again, very similarly, we could just take our answer of 180 that we're looking for, subtract what we are looking for at 60 degrees. My cat is jumping all over me right now. and you'd get your supplementary angle. And similarly, in this last one, 95 plus something has to give me a supplementary angle, or 180 degrees. Again, doing this in your head, maybe you could do this in your head, maybe not, but if you can't, we always take that example of taking 180, subtracting what we currently have, and you should get your answers there. But again, huge, huge keynotes for us today. Complementary angles must add to 90 degrees. Supplementary angles must add to 180 degrees. Example number 2, check this one out. This is when we start applying some of the stuff that we have learned in various situations. It says right here, hey, these two angles, CUB, so if I'm going to highlight this actually, CUB is this angle right here. That angle, if I have it next to this angle, BUS, that together those things should be complementary angles, which means that they are going to add up to 90 degrees. So kind of like a continuation of what we've been doing before, small plus small equals big. I have this first small angle right here in which I have the value of x. If I add the second small angle that I see right here, I'm adding 3x plus 10. And I know that these have to be complementary, or they have to equal 90 degrees when I add those together. So we do a little bit of math. We've ended up with 4x plus 10 equals 90. I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. I end up with 4x equals 80. We're going to divide by 4. Grand total, x should equal 20. That is what they were looking for our final answer. They did say, what is the value of x? We've got our value of x. It is 20. And I think this is the last example, guys. Look at this. It is. Let's go ahead and try this one out real quick. Let's use gray. So very similarly, this one, they're giving us some various angle measurements. If they have BER, which is this angle right here, they also give us REA, which is this angle right here. And together, those two things must be supplementary angles, or they must add up to 180. So the process, again, we're going to take this angle, we're going to take that angle, we're going to add them together. They should equal 180. So if I take the first one of 8x plus 40, I add the second one of 2x, should get the answer of 180. We can combine these together to give us 10x plus 40. I would subtract 40 from both sides to get 10x equals 140. We divide by 10, divide by 10, and grand total x is going to equal 14. Be a little careful with this problem because they're not asking me just for x. They're also asking me for the measure of angle REA. So that means that I'm actually going to have to take the measurement of this angle right here. I'm just going to have to say, well, angle REA is just 2 times whatever my x value is. In this case, it is 14. So my angle REA should be 28 degrees for you. So from this, you guys are going to start the very first worksheet that is on Class Kick, and then you guys will be done for the day, and I should be back tomorrow for you. Take care, guys. See you later.